It's that time again for another Sulfur update. What's up, people? One Up Punch here. I'm going to be talking about the new one that came out today, October 21st, 2025, called the Quest Update. And with this one, you have a new vendor called Arthur. And what he does is he sells items with this new currency called stamps that you get from doing quests for the other NPCs in the game, such as Ralphie, Stiffleg, Gravekeeper, the Hawkland Marketeer. Then you have Script, which is the goblin that sells stuff, and some of the other people that you find out there in the world. But when you do these quests for these characters, they have different items you can get, like sunglasses, kidney stones. I think you could also get like a gun, like the Snub 38, and you give it to them, and they give you these stamps. There's different items you could actually choose from depending upon how many stamps you currently have. Like the toilet, for example, that has like an interconnected closet. You'll find these outhouses in the world, and you could get your stuff from the toilets. What I did is I picked two items because I had about 20 or about 30 stamps after doing a couple of quests. I'll show this off a little bit later. But I picked up the ammo box that allows you to buy bulk ammo if you have the money for it. And the second thing is the baptismal font, which essentially looks like a basin on top of like an altar, and it's white with like red coloration on the top of it, like blood. But what that does is essentially it takes all the weapons that you have that are enchanted and it removes them. So if you have like a gun that you put on with like a different enchantment you didn't want or like, you can go ahead into that, and for I think a decent amount of money you can go ahead and remove it, which I really think it's a nice touch because there are some guns I have that I don't want to have a specific enchantment for. And in this video, I'm going to be using the Farsight, which is one of the new guns added to the game. I fell in love with it after using it more, other than putting a compensator and then later on putting a red dot sight and a laser sight on it. Super accurate and fires 5.56. But just to show off a little bit on how the quest completion kind of works when you go ahead and give them the items that you currently found. Like for example, when I did Script, when you first click on them, there'll be like an option that says something about a quest, and when you go to it and have the items, you drag it onto where it says how many you need, like for example cheese, and then you press the button and it says quest completed. Press the big box again, and then the other quest will pop up after that. And I think for right now, Script just wants cheese and fondue, because once I gave him enough fondue, he went right back to cheese again. This is another thing I wanted to show you. I'll actually play the song or music that plays at the end of the video, but you have a 2x14 slotted toilet with a total of 28 single slots, and I don't know why the hell this thing is so big or long, but especially for a toilet bowl, you can go ahead and put items in there. And I always thought if I was going to do that, that's probably where all my oils are going to go, because I don't want to put them in my refrigerator or the safe or even the briefcase, which, by the way, they did remove some of the following items from other stores and put that into who you talk to for the stamps, because that's actually where you buy it. So going down the patch notes, they talk about worlds and levels, new achievements. When a player fail non-deadly, the game actually kills you now. Removed the following items: safe from Stiffleg shop, swing dings from Fex shop, mutagen capsule and pizza from Bill's shop, robot parts from Ralphie's shop, and gun racks and wardrobe from Boss Loot, which essentially would go into the stamps that you'd buy from Arthur, because that's where they currently are, other than the other items I talked about earlier from the ammo box and the baptismal font. Added quest dialogue options to all NPCs, smoother stair walking experience in multiple areas, church, town, and castle. Added explodable walls with side rooms to town, sewers, dungeon, and castle. And speaking of town, there's actually a problem I have with town right now. And a lot of people are kind of probably having the same issue as I am. But when I go into town, I have this very long or infinite loading screen. And when I went to go back and do some other levels off the recording, I wouldn't be able to get back into town. So I think it's completely broken from this update. And if people want to go ahead and try different levels, I would highly recommend doing the first level, the Goblin Cave, or going off and doing like the castle after the hedge maze, the Shabwa Bridge, or where Desert Claws is from the desert. I haven't had much issues with them, or I really didn't try the sewers, but all I know is that when I go to town, it doesn't work or I have problems with it. So keep that in mind. If you do decide to play town and it breaks on you, you'll be able to keep your stuff because it'll save if you Alt F4 or have to quit the game. I did have that problem there, and I hope they fix it later. But they also talk about hedge maze received a level detail polish, which they actually put a fountain in the center of the hedge maze, when it would be like you start the hedge maze, you go through it, and then you would hit the back end to where you need to get out where the buildings are. Now in the center, there's a fountain with some kind of like benches there too when you're being chased by the abominations. But as I said earlier, when it comes down to the ammo box, I wanted to show this off after I purchased it. It was 10 stamps to get, and when you pick it up or you get it, it goes into your church. And if you have enough money, you could buy bulk ammo now instead of going to Stiffleg's shop or Ralphie's shop and having to get all the ammo that they currently have. They will still have it, but it's a lot easier to buy all the ammo you need before you go off and fight whatever type of area. That being said, some of the general fixes and changes I want to talk about too, like the M3 Thermite's ADS got fixed, and I think they also allowed for more like enemies to say things. Like, I didn't really hear goblins say things, or like the Shabwa saying like different types of commands, or like taunting you too. So I think that also got fixed. Another thing that also got changed, but I don't remember if it was this update or the next one, but the Enchantress can now charge your amulet. So instead of going to the Gravekeeper all the time and doing 1,000 sulfur to get him to charge the amulet so that you can go back to the church, now the Enchantress can do that as well. And I find that to be pretty nice, because sometimes I forget and I'm getting annihilated, as you see here. Thank God I have a lot of food, whether it be grilled poultry or a bunch of fondue that I had made because I wanted to do the script quest. I was able to survive the bullets and then go off and do whatever I needed to in the dungeon. But say, for example, if you forgot to, the Enchantress can now fill up your amulet to get back to the church. Another thing is that when you fill up the amulet, instead of just normally getting it, or like the Gravekeeper saying, hey, your thing's done, it'll actually make a ding sound. That was also a change. The new Pure Fusely has different animations, and they added a new item called toilet paper, though I always thought it was in the game, but I guess I might be thinking of something else, because you do find like paper, and it's like the insurance that you would be able to get for your gun, so if you died, you wouldn't lose it. Another change they made was the Ferryman is now actually an SMG compared to being an assault rifle, which I don't know how I feel about that, because yes, it does look like an SMG, but it fires 50 BMG rounds. So, I mean, I guess that kind of works because it fires rapidly, but who wants to shoot that thing on full auto for how big the recoil is? And once again, after putting a compensator and red dot sight on the far sight, it is so much fun to use. Not to mention the recoil of the thing is not that bad. Another change I've seen with this update is that a lot of times the enemies that would fight you would be very aggressive, but now they're a lot more evasive and they try to go around corners and taking cover, especially some of the guys with guns that shoot at you, whether it be the bounty hunters or even the ones that have the rifles. Normally they would come in charge or fire their gun off a bunch or constantly walk towards you and keep firing. Now if you shoot at them a bunch, they will back off, go around a wall, kind of shoot and then jump around it, trying to look like they are doing like a reload, but in reality they're just trying to stop from getting shot at, which I thought that was a nice touch as well. But that's all I got so far, and I mean there's a lot more stuff to be checking out in the patch notes, which I will link down in the description down below, but that's all I want to talk about in this video. Mainly it's just Arthur, the new different type of mechanic for the stamps, and the new items that you probably could go and check out, though I'm not going to, because currently I'm grinding to get all those stamps, whether it be giving kidney stones to the Scholar, fondue to Script, or getting sunglasses for Stiffleg, which he definitely wants. I think Ralphie wants dish soap so that you can give it to her, and I think she gives you 5 or maybe even a little bit more stamps. Not really sure, but I'm definitely going to grind a bunch so I can get more of the items and see what happens. That being said, I've been One Nut Punch, and this has been the Sulfur Quest Update video. Much appreciated. Thanks for watching and checking out the channel, and I'll see you later next one. Before the video completely ends, I'm going to be playing the outro of the music that you heard earlier with the toilet, and check that out. Anyway, see you later, guys.